All right, y'all, let's get into some dark stage and the world stage and the rapture and those types of things in one setting, because we see the leaders. They have so-called gotten that shot live on TV or gotten it behind curtains or whatever, and then some, like the Trump man, he's taken the Regeneron polyclonal antibody cocktail. Okay, so we've already seen him become that masturbator. So that cocktail's already being served up because the people are drinking. They're like, man, he sure did win. And that's the wine. All right. So that morning star, that wine is turning into the wind. And that water, tears turning into the wine too. So it's that drunkenness, happiness. Yeah, he's coming back. So, that sin gill, the sin is the NYS on the dark side, on the back side, and he's coming back for that second coming. And that's the second coming, he's gonna be getting that switch hit, because he just become that masturbator, and he came for all of y'all as he's giving the mouth to speak and such, and he's coming out spitting some shit at you, and he's even saying that they're full of crap and they're full of shit, and the F King trash Kamala is coming, and Kamala, the Kamala. It's part of the second coming with a woman on top, and you better tune in, Tokyo. That tuning in Tokyo might cause that quake to shake and bake to get that tidal wave coming on that West Coast flush out for the washing of sins and to finish off their little things so we can start rebuilding here in the new heaven and earth and such. So the tribulation is kind of going from one to the other, but this would be why they're turning those cities into shit or whatever, because they're eventually going to be flushing them out and restarting and rebuilding the coastlines or whatever. But as they do that, they give a fair warning. So this is where you get like a test of different things, but that's where they also have it set up on the world stage to gather in those people as different lights. But as they're gathering in the different lights, like celebrities moving into different states or whatever, right? This would be those lights being placed from candlestick to candlestick, being passed to guide and control the flock or the culture and the petri dish. So Biden getting it live on TV takes us back to Elvis getting it live on TV, and that's like one heaven to another heaven being opened up and closed, a test of time. Okay, so these tests are done, and then the AI comes on and gathers up the information, is watching these different things, putting different things together, frequency changes, blah, 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 and these things are growing. The biowarfare has been placed either through this thing or these things or that thing, and then you mix it up with some things they're putting in the food and water coming up or whatever. This is where we get the waters turned to wormwood, to where eventually you might have to drink the Gatorade or whatever, to where it takes you into that actual idiocracy kind of thing. But it's in a beneficial way, not in a bad way, and it's just where we get kind of some flip-flops going on. Okay, so Biff Tannen, the BiFF, that's the 66, the 36 or whatever, but the Bi would be the Biden, tying into the Tan Man, the Tan 9. The 9 is the 45, the 45 on his 54 is now. Anyways, but so Biff Tannen is based on Trump, and Trump is split off into different characters as Biff Tannen is going back and forth from the future to the past and all those other things. So that's where we get that. All right, but Biden is marking an end of something, and we see the King Spirit, how he died, and we see certain people at age 42 for that royal flush, and they're stacking on some things, but this is a time zone for that king to be taken out, and I assume no body would be shown, and those types of things to kind of mirror those stories, where you're like, man, where the fuck did he go? Like, just all of a sudden he's gone. But that also where Amendment 25 comes in, and that 25 is for that Christmas spirit. And then that's setting up for that Hurricane Chris or Hurricane Christ or whatever. And then we got the Bear Real Hurricane. And that's probably going to help fill up that swamp so they can drain the swamp in a literal way. And that would be Houston area, or Corpus Christi, the Dead Christ area, or they might even do a circle loop to where it just shoots over to Florida and those types of areas, to where they don't have a warning per se, because they had the alarms over here, but they called it wrong. And since you called it wrong, it's on the table games and those things, because you see a couple people folding right now. But and then we might see it go up the coastline of the Carolinas and cause pandemonium on the East Coast or whatever. And then we can see DeSantis coming out and talking about weather warfare and that kinds of things. So we can see how Trump is a conspiracy theorist or whatever. This is where we see the kings reflecting the light of the so-called conspiracies, so they get the people into the truth movements and all these other things and preset these seeds that have already been done. And these people, it's all set up, okay? So if the leaders start dying from the thing that was put on, okay, that's part of that so-called rapture. The second stage. The second stage is the backstage. The backstage is dark, or the setting of the back. The setting of the second stage is the backstage. The backstage is when Trump is coming up. Backstage, it's dark, okay? And you don't really know who things are, who people are, or whatever, until you maybe get it close, or when you start seeing the shadow figures, you're in the darkness, so you can start seeing the shadow figures and knowing, hey dude, I'm behind the curtain of Oz. It is dark here. All right. But I mentioned Florida because they got the Emerald Coastline or whatever it's called over there. And we're going from one emerald to another emerald. Or we might just see it go up the coast of Texas and all the way around or something like that, the hole-in-one, that Gulf hole-in-one or whatever. We could also see it hit Boca Chica and cause that to boom boom. It's got the nitrous oxide down there, but that could cause a little ripple in the old Gulf, that hole-in-one. But that live golf game that Trump and Biden are playing without the caddy, all right? Because he's saying you can't hold your own bags, and then we see Trump golfing using the caddy or the cart or whatever. So the cart is part of the hors d'oeuvres and those things that's coming up. But and the serve us, the secret serve us, and the secret serve us would be Biden just coming out of nowhere, or Biden going into a coma, or the Dr. Fauci coming in as that so-called, with the invisible enemy taking him out, and the Damascus and all those other things playing again. But either way, if the leaders or whatever start to croak from the cold or the COVID or whatever, we see Biden with the cold these days, but this is where the people are going backwards, where people are scared of, okay, and it's spreading out from that, and eventually they don't have to take the thing that Elvis brought to them on the live TV, and we break away from that. So looking backwards, all right, and looking backwards, we get into better technology, stuff made of iron that does all the stuff we do now, but we think of it in a backwards way, like we're getting better when all the shit breaks all the time or whatever. It's like the beast system. We're being taken back to the animals, and then we're going to rise up out of this shit that happens, okay? So when the people go into the darkness, this is when the light comes on inside of their head, because the beast has to be broken first, the horse has to be ran first before it drinks the water, before it drinks the new food, the new oats that it's being given, because it's been given a bunch of corny shit, all right? So as that corny shit is being served, in another way, then this is where the stage is just apparent, okay? And then you go from the Israel to the Israel, to where you're watching real people tell you about real shit, okay? So, we see the new heaven and earth setting open, the old one dying away, and all those things going on. So, the commercials have done their job. And the commercials, the CIA, all is tied to the second coming, the America, and the CIA, and the Church of Laodicea, and the L that's going to be served for the Harry, and the Combs, and the Meghan, and the Royal Flush, and those types of things. And then we got the Megalodon that's coming. That's the Elon, and the me gay Elon, and me gay Trump, and all these other things. And to work deep cover, you might have to go and do some sick shit sometimes. So, that deep cover is part of that second coming too, and the spies and Epstein's so-called spy and all these other things. This is where that blackmail is coming to bang it, all right? And once you go black, you don't go back, all right? So these are all these little things that are playing out in our world in a big picture way. So hopefully it will help you see things a little better. But these people that took the mark, this will be their cue to fucking start going, all right? But they took the mark. It's go time. Lights are off. The sun has gone dark. The moon has gone dark. Kamala's the moon, okay? The apple splits. The lotus comes up. All right, that shows on the iPad. Go and watch that cartoon. I highly suggest it, part 2. It's all playing out. It's a symbolic cartoon made by the AI telling you things. But either way, the sun and moon are going dark with Hunter and Trump trial. He's went behind an eclipse, and as he's went behind the eclipse, he's went dark, and he's starting to rise out of the eclipse and come out of the moon. And as he comes out of the moon, the moon is there now, or it's a going behind the eclipse. But as he goes behind the eclipse, he goes behind and comes out of, okay, because he's been under like a spiritual eclipse with the trials, but he's going under a physical eclipse with Kamala. So he's going to shine a light for the new heaven and earth in one way and bring it down into darkness, the old heaven and earth, in another way. Okay? But as the darkness shines, this brings in the others. But the goal, what they've already said, what they've already been doing with this hook, line, and sinker, with a masturbator, debater, and that the jukebox playing. That's the Joker before you all. Have you ever danced with the Joker in the pale moonlight? That's the old Batman saying. But these people are going to see these people. Their lights are going to go out. That means their lights are going to go out. And that's when all fucking pandemonium, pandem, all that stuff comes on. All right? So this is part of that. It's a wrap. And then all of a sudden, all these people, a third of the stars, a third of the lights are gone. Your movie stars, your politicians, whatever. And that's where you have the new being set up, the new coming. That's where you have to know who to follow, who to listen to. Anyways, we'll endure.